The Digimon franchise is no stranger to experimenting with game genres. From dungeon crawling, to arena fighters, to traditional RPGs, the series has never been afraid to try new things, and possibly no game is a bigger example of this than the recently released Digimon Survive. 70% visual novel, 30% tactical RPG, Digimon Survive is a game unlike any that the Digimon series has seen before, and not just from a conceptual standpoint either. After 20 plus hours spent in the game, I can say with confidence this game isn't afraid to go places no game in the franchise has gone before. Your choices influence the direction of the story, and main characters can die as a consequence of your actions. The plot follows a group of students from our world taking a field trip to a remote area to check out some ruins and other landmarks. After entering a strange tunnel to escape some freak sudden weather, the students come out on the other side and quickly realize that something isn't right. Red spider lilies are blooming out of season, their phones no longer have signal and are picking up strange static on the screen, and scary noises from mysterious creatures can be heard in the distance. The game does a really good job of setting a dire tone from the offset, with a combination of moody music, dim lighting on characters and Digimon, and just an overall mood that something is lurking around every corner out to get the students. Each of the students eventually meets a partner Digimon, and one thing I liked is that for better or worse, they each have their own individual and realistic reactions to these mysterious monsters suddenly following them around. Some are initially wary but soon warm up to their partners, while a couple of them are freaked out and verbally abuse their Digimon anytime they even get close. It's not pretty, but it's a realistic response to a talking monster suddenly following you everywhere. As the group quickly comes to terms with the fact they're now in a foreign land on their own, you start to see some division. Some want to stay and wait for help, while others want to go out and try and find a way home. The cast will constantly butt heads like this a lot, with the stakes raising the more and more you play. A good way to summarize the game is a more dire take on the original Digimon Adventure anime with a Lord of the Flies spin thrown in. And so far this premise has managed to hold my attention every step of the way. The cast themselves aren't super complex in how they're written, you'll likely like who you're supposed to and dislike who you're supposed to. But I think they all pull off their roles well, and I do like the chemistry some of them have with their partner Digimon, which given the premise of the plot is a big plus. But of course, that's just the story and characters. There's more to Digimon Survive than that. While the game may primarily be a visual novel, at times in Digimon Survive you'll have to fight, and battles unfold in strategy RPG fashion, similar to Triangle Strategy or Final Fantasy Tactics. So if you played really any strategy RPG before, you'll be right at home here. Turn order is determined by speed, and when you get in range of an enemy you can attack them either with a normal attack or a more powerful skill that's either unique to your Digimon or one they'll be able to use via an accessory you have equipped on them. Special attacks consume SP, a resource that you'll have to manage, but more on that in a second. Positioning also plays a vital role in battles, as you'll take more damage if attacked from the sides and colossal damage if attacked from the rear, though obviously the same applies to enemies. There's also high differences in terrain that can give you advantages in damage the higher you are compared to an enemy, but I personally haven't been able to make much use of this so far. You can usually deploy up to 6 Digimon in one battle, and while you obviously have the Digimon partners of all the main characters, you also have access to wild Digimon that you've tamed and brought to your side. There's a talk function in battle towards allies and enemies. If used on an ally, you apply a buff that corresponds to the character doing the talking. The main character Takuma will buff all stats, while Aoi is able to heal party members, for example. But when using the talk feature on an enemy Digimon, you'll be able to recruit them to your side after answering a series of their questions. If you're at all familiar with Demon Negotiation in Shin Megami Tensei, this is literally that. The Digimon will ask you very random questions, and based on their personality type, you have to decide the best answer to their question out of the 4 choices given to you. One option lowers their happiness bar by 1, one lowers the bar by 2, one raises the happiness bar by 1, and the best option will raise the bar by 2. You have 3 chances, and if you manage to get the bar over the indicated threshold, you'll be able to ask the Digimon either for an item or to join your party, with the success rate of doing so shown on screen. Success rate is affected both by your current strongest Digimon level and also your alignment in the game's story, but I'll touch on that in a bit once we're done talking about battles. Now once you have some wild Digimon recruited to your side, there's one major difference between them and the partner Digimon the game gives you, and that's how each handles evolution. If you don't know, Digimon evolve into higher forms. In Survive, your partner Digimon start out in their base form, or rookies, and can evolve further into Champion, Ultimate, and finally Mega, with a few rare Digimon even being able to go one step further. Your partner Digimon can evolve temporarily during battle, but afterwards will always revert back to their base rookie forms, or you can even manually make them revert back yourself during battle, though you won't be able to evolve again for the rest of the battle. Whereas recruited Digimon are forever in their current state and can never go back from the form you got them in, and can never go back once you evolve them even further. The big disadvantage to this is that being in an evolved form past rookie saps your SP at the end of every turn, which is where the SP management I alluded to earlier comes into play. While in rookie form, you get SP back every turn, but when evolved, it drains. And since some attacks can use up a lot of SP, staying in your more powerful evolved forms can be risky. And it's this balancing act that kept me thinking in battles. Do I want to remain in my weaker form for now and then evolve when I reach the boss? Or are the enemies on the way to the boss too annoying or dangerous to gamble that strategy on? Having the constant thought on my mind of when to evolve helped immerse me in most story fights. Add on top that often your evolved forms can have different movement speed and attack range, and sometimes it's not even worth it to evolve depending on the current situation. There's over 100 Digimon to find and recruit in the game, so it's easy to amass a team of your favorites and use who you like, though oftentimes for story battles, you will be required to bring certain plot relevant Digimon with you. I briefly mentioned how your alignment can alter your choices of recruiting certain Digimon, and I'd like to touch on that a bit further. Like I said in the beginning of the video, you have choices to make in Digimon Survive, and a lot of those choices will affect your standing with one of the 3 possible alignments in the game: Moral, Wrathful, and Harmony. You can think of these as like lawful, chaos, and neutral choices respectively, though usually not nearly as extreme in nature as you'd find in the Shin Megami Tensei game. You accumulate points in each over the course of the game, and this morality system affects your Digimon recruitment, the evolution route of your main character's Agumon, and what ending you get. Though you do have to make these sometimes hard decisions, if you're dead set on one specific route, it's pretty impossible to screw up, since not only is every alignment color-coded for you in your menu and when you click a dialogue option, but each specific choice is always in the exact same spot during conversations, the Wrathful option always being the top choice, for example. Since Digimon Survive is mostly a visual novel, you'll mostly be reading and advancing dialogue, but there are times when you'll have to look around areas for specific things, or bring out your phone and find specific anomalies. And the game sometimes gives you free time to either get to know your characters better, or do free battles to your heart's content. Digimon Survive is a unique entry in the Digimon franchise with its own tone and approach that hasn't been seen in the series before. It took years to come out since its announcement, but after spending a good amount of time with the game, I'm confident in saying that the wait was more than worth it. It may be primarily a visual novel, but so much care was put into the visuals, the battle system, the excellent soundtrack, and overall character presentation and expression. And if the visual novel nature of the game doesn't turn you off, I highly recommend it to both Digimon fans and newcomers alike. That's all I got for today, but if you want more JRPG content, be sure to check out my video I made going over the JRPGs of my childhood that helped shape me into the fan of the genre that I am today. And be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing if you liked the video. Thanks for watching guys, I'll see you next time.